Welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another rant. This is a continuation of a previous video I did on internal nipples. And I got pretty good response from that from some folks that have had same kind of issues, or at least knew about them. By the way, sometimes I don't actually get comments on the videos. Some people who know me on a personal level will just send me an email or send me a text. So I do get responses from different people from different platforms. So anyway, just it's nice. It's nice to communicate and be engaged with the folks viewing my videos. Okay, so before we get on to the topic of today, please like and subscribe. We're at 630 subscribers. Today is Veterans Day, November the 11th. And for some of you who may not know, I was a Marine for 12 years. So yesterday, November 10th, was the Marine Corps birthday. So like and subscribe, and please hit that notification bell. As I said in a previous video, 90% of the people watching my videos are not subscribed. So please subscribe. 630. I'd like to get to 1,000. That helps the channel, and I can do more things for you guys. Okay, so as I mentioned, we were going to talk about a continuation in the saga of this 3T internally spoked wheel. In the previous video, I talked about how difficult it has been to work with 3T, getting wheel spec from them, then being passed on to Sapim, and eventually got the spokes. Actually, I ordered extra spokes, and that's where we're going with this. The wheel only had one broken spoke when it came to me, but in the process of trying to true the wheel, 2 more spokes broke. So I think the customer had about 2 broken spokes before that. Then the 3rd spoke is what brought him to me. Then I broke 2 more in the process of truing this wheel. And all of them are breaking. The spoke is breaking halfway into the nipple. So not above and not in the center where I've seen some spokes break. I've got a wheel over there that's got a broken spoke right here in the middle. But yeah, so internal nipples. So fortunately, I had ordered 4 spokes. By the way, in the past, that ordering spokes used to be a hassle because you had to buy them in boxes. So if you needed to repair a wheel, you needed to buy a box of spokes, and then eventually you'd end up with this big collection of spokes. And if you don't know much about spokes, you have single gauge, double butted, triple butted. You have round spokes, flat spokes, which are arrow spokes. Then you also have J-bend, straight pull, just black, and then silver, and then of course some also come in different colors. So just a huge variety of spokes. So it was a real pain to carry that many spokes. Eventually, one of my distributors was now selling each. Okay, so I bought 4 spokes. I bought nipples from Sapim. So spokes from one place, nipples from another place. Went to put the wheel back. I broke 2 more spokes. So fortunately, I had some spares. But I need to recommend to the customer that this wheel get rebuilt. But then again, do we want to continue to have this? I can rebuild this wheel, all new spokes, all new nipples, but this problem is just going to come back again. This wheel is not that old, and he doesn't ride this that much. He rides his road bike primarily, and his gravel bike every now and then. And yet, in 3 years or less, we have this spoke breaking issue. So, you know, that expression of throwing good money after bad, or whatever the expression is. I think that's it. Okay, so that's this wheel. But someone commented on the video, and they were talking about a set of Reynolds wheels that they had that was a tubular wheel set. And I remembered, oh yes, I had those too. Well, probably not the same wheel, but these wheels, internal nipples. This was their KOM, so King of the Mountain series. It was called Cirrus, Cirrus. This was an extremely light wheel set at 1050 for front and rear, so 1,050 grams, so under 1,000 grams. And it's funny because the tire that's on here was wide at the time, but I think it's only like a 21. So this is one of my old wheels just sitting around. I don't know what to do with it. Who's going to buy it? It's 10 speed. But it was only used on race days, and it was only used on climbing events because it was a tubular wheel. And I'm going to get into tubular, what used to be the benefits and the drawbacks of it here in just a second. But I don't know what to do with this wheel. I paid a lot for it at the time. It stayed true. It had a White Industries hub on it, so it was a very good quality hub and a very light rim. And then, of course, it was tubular, so it was a very light wheel set. I hope I said tubular earlier. I do these videos without any edits or any cuts, one shot. So I apologize if sometimes I make a mistake, and I apologize up front for that. So if you don't know what tubular wheels are, the difference between a clincher and a tubular is that a tubular wheel is a complete assembly. So I'm going to turn this around. It's glued on. So hopefully that comes through. This is old glue on here. This is a Zip Z-Tech wheel. And I went through this phase where I was a weight weenie, which is why it's kind of like if someone was a smoker and now they're a reformed smoker, which I was as well. Every time that you smell cigarette smoke or something like that, it just seems like it bothers you even more. So I used to be a weight weenie. I went through a phase where I bought everything that was lightweight, wheels and pedals and bikes and seat posts and stuff. And everything was breaking, And then I just stopped with that insanity because every year someone else would make something that was lighter than the last one. So you were constantly, like a dog chasing its tail, you were constantly trying to find the next lightweight thing. Anyway, let's get back to this. So this is a Zip 202 Z-Tech wheel, and this was supposed to be like their top 10% wheels that came out with the no imperfections of any type, and this was part of their Z-Tech program, and it had a dimpled hub. I don't know if you can see that. A lot of times I have to shoot these videos by myself, but sometimes I do have a cameraman, a friend who has some time off. So with a tubular wheel, the tire gets glued on, and this one's it's been off for other reasons, primarily because, well, I needed to true the wheel, and that's where this becomes a problem. Now, when it's glued on properly, it won't come off this easy. Like I said, this has been recently taken off. So, internal nipples again, and they're inside there. And then this is your tubular tire. And a tubular tire, for those who have not ridden or are new to cycling and maybe haven't seen something like this, this has the tube inside. And it's completely, so here's the tire tread, then it's completely closed on the inside, and then that white cotton looking thing, that is what they call the base tape, and then you glue this tire onto the rim. Now here's the thing, gluing a tire is a multi-day process. You put glue on your rim, you put glue on the tire, let it dry. So that's usually about 24 hours or so, especially by the time you get the second coat on there. You want to make sure it's dry. And that's the thing that most people say, oh, well, tubulars, it's so messy. That's this. No, the glue is dry. It's a contact cement. So the glue only really sticks to itself. So once you've gotten a couple of coats of glue on your rim, a couple of coats of glue on your tire, then you go to put it on. But remember, it's it's a contact cement. So as you start putting the tire on, it wants to stick to itself. And then you have to try to position it properly, because the tubular bed it's just like this. There's no rim that has a hook to it, whereas a clincher has a hook to it, and then the tire bead hooks onto that, which, by the way, now they're making hookless rims. Topic for another day. As I mentioned, I was going to tell you about what are some of the advantages or disadvantages. And the caveat is that tubeless tires have come a long, long way. But in the past, a tubular rim and a tubular tire as an assembly, as a system, was significantly lighter, especially if it was carbon, was significantly lighter than a aluminum rim or even a carbon rim that was a clincher rim, which for a long time those didn't exist. There was a lot of heat buildup on the brake track, and rims were delaminating and literally exploding. So the carbon clincher setup took a long time to be developed. But back to tubular. So it was lighter, number one. Number two, it was designed, or, it's been around for a long, long time, but the pro Peloton liked it because, and they still do, some teams still run tubulars, because if they flatted and their team car was several cars back behind the Peloton, they could continue to ride on this punctured tire, on a flat tire, until the team car came up, swap out the wheel, and off they went. Whereas with clincher, if you've had a flat and you've tried to stop in time, sometimes you're riding on the rim, and that of course is not safe. But for a professional cyclist, seconds can mean the loss of a stage or the overall win at a stage race. So they were lighter, they were safer in that respect of not falling off the rim, and also the grip and the type of materials that were used. The tubular was always the best R&D tire and the best product that tire company could produce. So they put all their R&D and technology into that tire, and it was always the best tire you could get from, let's say, Continental or Vittoria, or whatever brand we're talking about. And it rolled faster, and then the ride quality of a tubular tire was very, very good. Now we've got tubeless, so a tire without a tube, and it's open. And they have been rivaling the ride quality, the speed. They won't get anywhere near the lightness of it because you still have this fluid sealant inside and such. But this is archaic now. I mean, most people know that a tubular tire is just a big pain. But if we get back to the topic of today, anytime that you needed to true a wheel that had internal nipples and that was a tubular tire, tubular wheel, tubular tire, this was a nightmare. And a truing of maybe, a $30 truing turned into this big ordeal because now you're gluing on a tubular. And maybe a 10-minute process, 15-minute process turned into a 2-3 day process when you're having to glue the tire back on. So I just think internal nipples, just a stupid idea. Again, this is a very low profile wheel. This one is a very low profile wheel. I mentioned in that other video, one of the benefits of internal nipples is they save a little bit in aerodynamic drag. Just dumb. But there are a lot of other dumb things that the bike industry does. One in particular, my opinion only, is all this tidying up of the cables and housing on the front end of the bike. So that's a video coming soon, because just to tidy that stuff up, there is a huge labor cost later when all you want to do is maybe service the headset bearings or have to replace them. You have to do an enormous amount of work just to get the headset bearings out. A $30 job and a $40 part is going to turn in hundreds of dollars. I already had it happen to one of my customers. Okay, that's all for today. I appreciate your time and your attention. Please like and subscribe. We will see you up the road.